Yes.
Nice. So I think whenever you're ready, we can get started with this next run and bring him over.
Okay, okay. I'm going to start in 3, 2, 1, go. Oh, I gotta turn up. You guys can probably hear the game, but I don't have it turned up in my headphones. Now I can hear it. That's great. The first part of the run's already going to start with a couple of different glitches. Most of these glitches are banned in the far more popular category for this run, which is no save and quits, no wrong warps, no out of bounds. We'll be able to do all those things and a couple of others tricks as well. We're going to start off right here. See if I get the first one, or if I get stuck in a tree. Nope, we're good. So this is screen warping. It's not a frame perfect trick. It's pretty easy to do. It was in a Nintendo Power magazine and everything. You just want to open up the map as Link is moving from one room to another, and the room you're in, the screen you're in, will change, but Link won't move, and some of the other sprites on the screen also won't move. So you can see I was able to drag the sword over from one screen to another, so I could avoid having to talk to the owl. You can also use that to, you see I just took a little dip into the ocean there, and that I can pull up the map. You can see I've got that one little square there on the top side of the map. I was actually able to wrap around the world map and go unlock the warp zone by Dungeon 8. And we're going to be taking advantage of that pretty soon, because this is a reverse boss order, so we'll be starting in Dungeon 8. Oh, come on. We're going to be seeing that last cave quite a bit. Simply because it has 3 easy to kill monsters, and it's in a very convenient place to get to. And for certain parts of the run, for this trick in particular, which is the Kennel World or the Doghouse Glitch, or however you want to say, it's got a couple of different names, but it works a little bit differently each time you go in, depending on how many monsters you've killed before you enter. Also, if I go in with having defeated 3 monsters, and that staircase I just took, that put me in Dungeon 1, that staircase only works on a 3-kill dungeon, if you want to put it that way. For the rest of the game, I'll need to be killing 6 monsters. If you go in there and you haven't defeated any monsters, or if you've rolled the counter over and it's overflowed back to 0, it'll actually spit you out in Gopongo Swamp, next to the Dungeon 2 exit. But we don't take advantage, or rather, I don't take advantage of that unless something's gone horribly wrong, usually in Dungeon 2.
This seems like the way the game was intended to be played.
Exactly. Oh, he caught me. And I'm gonna steal the shovel, because that's obviously a lot, well, when I get away with it, it's a lot quicker than farming up 200 rupees. He's being quite stingy today.
What a thief.
Hold on. He's acting a little funny. He's acting like I don't have the sword. There we go. I think he bugged out on me a little bit. Yeah, I actually have a landline phone. It's ringing behind me. I'm not sure where it is, so I could go shut it up. The trick I'm doing here, and we're going to see this a lot during the run, is super jumps. For any of these walls that have like a jumpable spot on top where you'd be able to, say, jump off the top of the cliff, if you go to the bottom of the cliff, and kind of clip into the wall a little bit, you can jump and slash out your sword, for example. And the game will think you're at the top of the cliff and give you the extra jump height, which gives you more opportunities to go out of bounds as well. 2. Ooh, that's... Yep, that'll kill me. 1. You know what? I don't know if that counter refreshes on a death, so I'm gonna go ahead and save and quit and just make sure. 2, 3, 4, I need exactly 6, so I'm trying to be careful here. There we go. So we've picked up the ocarina, but we're not actually going to use it at any point. We're gonna do a little bit of fishing before we go back into the Kennel World, though. This is the first fishing minigame in the Legend of Zelda series, and you can see it's really quite simple. It's not very complicated. It's not very frustrating like it can be in Ocarina of Time. And I think Majora's Mask has a fishing game too, but I don't remember too much about it. But that big fish I just caught has a piece of heart, so that's why we bother to go fishing. Grab my shovel. Grab another seashell. Now we're gonna head back to the Kennel World. This time we're gonna head to Dungeon 3. Oop, I get the clip. There we go. And it's very easy to get into the doghouse glitch. You just want to clip into the right-hand side of the doghouse there. And you just scroll down like you're just trying to walk into the door, and it'll spit you out in this place. So you obviously see none of the sprites in the graphics all load in. It doesn't load in the correct tile sets for any of these rooms, and you got to be careful in certain places, like that staircase. If you hit that staircase on the right-hand side, it'll actually just teleport Link into a wall that you actually can't walk through. But all those movement rules are different depending on how many monsters you killed. Some blocks you can walk through all the time. Some blocks you can walk through only sometimes. Staircases only work in certain dungeons. In the Game Boy Color remake, the chests will have different items in them depending on which version of the Kennel World you go into. But in the original Game Boy version, the only thing that's in there is the same bit of dialogue in each chest, too. And it plays some very glitchy music if you open one. 2, 3.
Just want to remind everyone again, our next donation incentive is for the file name on Shovel Knight Plague of Shadows. That's going to be in about 5 hours, so there's some time there. Plenty of time to think of a name, but get that name in, get those donations in.
And this is going to be our last trip through here for a little while at least. Magic powder. And now we're going to head to Dungeon 4 to get the flippers. And between flippers and Rock's Feather and at least the level 1 bracelet, that lets us get to anywhere we want to go in the game. There's probably a couple of exceptions, but I haven't really run into those. Oops. Need to screen warp through here. And screen warping as a trick, it's not frame perfect, but for situations like where I want to go through that wall, it has to be pretty close. Otherwise, Link will move a little bit before the map screen opens, and then you could very well be stuck. But now I'm going to head to Dungeon 8, and we're going to use the Warp Zone I unlocked right after I grabbed the sword. Save us the trip up here. Oh. Move, Link. There we go. Now, we're going to be skipping pretty much all of Turtle Rock. Going through the back door already lets us cut off a big portion of the map. And that screen warp lets us get to the fire rod. We don't have to worry about any of the puzzles, any of those, weird sliding blocks that erase the pitfalls. You don't have to do any of that. I don't even have to worry with the mini-boss, Blano. Blano's the little punchy dude there. If he punches you, he can send you back to start. Which would obviously cost you a bunch of time, but we're also not going to worry about the Nightmare Key, although I did kind of miss that screen warp. There we go. I'm going to super jump here, right there, slide right into the boss room without needing the Nightmare Key. And the fun thing about doing this boss fight first is he deals 4 hearts of damage if he hits you. So every hit's a 1-hit kill. Jumping into the lava only takes half a heart of damage. So that I suppose is an option to dodge something out. Here we go.
Congrats on first boss.
Thank you. Ooh, that crew's gonna get me. Ooh, haha. I don't think I mentioned at the start of the run. I think it slipped my mind, but I didn't grab bombs or arrows. Oh, look how stupid I am. Haha. I did not grab bombs or arrows. I'm gonna have to make a little bit of sidetrack here. I can't believe I forgot to pick up bombs and arrows. I at least need bombs to get into that cave. I wonder if I can just pick that up later. You can pick that up later. Just have to remember to pick that up. Might come by at some point. Get out of here. Actually, we're going to be going back to town as part of the regular route anyway, so I'll go pick those up later, and that'll lose less time.
I like that the game's broken enough that we're going to be okay.
Yeah, it'll be alright. I keep forgetting the name of this creepy little dude, but he gets mad when you wake him up, and he's going to curse you by letting you carry twice as much ammunition as you could before, which is quite a terrible curse. Now you have all this extra stuff to carry around. There are actually 3 of his little shrines in the game, and they're very spread out on the world map, but if you can go out of bounds, you can see in the way the game's programmed, the way the map's actually laid out, they're actually all right next to each other. So I actually have like 40 bombs and 40 arrows. I just don't actually have 40 bombs to use. But that would have otherwise upgraded, or rather, it would have filled up my inventory. Oh, I didn't mean to run into that. So I guess we'll see if that ammo will carry over when I go and grab my bombs and arrows and stuff. I'm gonna go out of bounds here and do a series of screen warps. Ooh. No, we're good. In this section, the thing about doing screen warps when there are cracked tiles underneath you is that the screen warp does not reset the timer for when those tiles crack. So you could go into a screen warp standing on solid ground. When you come out of the map screen, there's a pitfall underneath of you, and you're stuck in a loop of respawning over the pitfall. Which means you have to save and quick go back to the cave entrance and try again. But that was all just to get the Dungeon 7 key. Skipping the hardest trick in non-out-of-bounds categories, which is the Rooster Skip, where you would use the hook shot and Rock's Feather to kind of jump on thin air and jump your way across a gigantic pit. And you can pause buffer it with the inventory screen, so it's not always that tough. But even with pause buffering, it can just take a long time. You.
So we have 4 hearts now.
Do we? Oh no, we don't. Oh jeez, I misunderstood you for a second. No, I don't think. I think I started talking about it and I got distracted by not having bombs. But I am playing on a ROM patch where you still have to pick up all the items, but the game will just not add any more hearts to your heart counter. Oh, hey, look at that. That's a new shortcut I did not intend to find right here.
I'm sorry, I probably just missed that earlier.
I gotta go back through that cave because I actually didn't want to screen warp right there. Come on. But I found another heart piece over there. I did not realize those rooms connected like that. Alright, now I need the bracelet. Let's try this again and go the right direction. There we go. See, now we're gonna be in the forest. We ought to go get our bombs and arrows pretty soon. Get out of here. Oh, I forgot they did that. And I'm gonna take the time to save Tear in here. This long, drawn-out cutscenes are gonna play out, but we'll be able to skip the text just by having boots and running away. But that's gonna let me go learn Marin's song now. The alternative would be, since I'm playing the game backwards, I'd have to wait all the way until I'm done with Dungeon 2, and then go and do the big long side quest where you have to escort Marin to the beach. So that would cost quite a bit of time. And since you screen warp into the town rather than go through a loading zone, the sprites don't change over, and now Marin is a moblin.
Seems legit.
Yep. It's really important you do two things there. You hit A to say, yes, I will remember this song forever. But there's also a chance you can save and quit before that very last dialogue box appears. And if you do that, you don't actually get the song. And I managed to ruin a decent run the other day by not actually getting the song. Ah, come on. Man. He's just being stingy today. Dude. There we go. No, I was thinking of screen warping up there, but I think I'll just get stuck. I think I've tried that before and it's not gone well. I can do it over here though, if I don't get stuck in a tree. Here. Nah, nope, that one gets you stuck in a tree too. Okay. So we'll have to go in the correct way into the forest. I actually have to go back to that cave I was just in. I have to go all the way back there. And normally I don't have to go to the shop there. Or I could have just saved and quit and been right at the cave entrance. Because next we're going to head to Dungeon 7. And the fast way to Dungeon 7 is to just go out of bounds in that cave and go straight up for a couple of rooms. The staircase is going to bring us right there. And we're going to skip all the walking around you have to do in this mountain area by Dungeon 7.
This is the dungeon that was everybody's nightmare growing up.
Oh my gosh, this dungeon is just terrible if you're not cheating your way through it. Screen warp. Normally what you need to do is, also by the way, there's Kirby and a Goomba. Not really Kirby, it's an anti-Kirby. We'll see Paragoombas later. I've actually already gone past where Luigi is in the game, but Luigi's in the game, Princess Peach is in the game, and we'll see Wart later, sort of, but that's not for a little bit yet. Give me the super jump. Need a super jump. Alright, this is gonna be the one. And I got the super jump, and I super jump. My jump was too super. Give me a break here, game. That is not what I want you to do, Link. It's also not what I want you to do, Link. Man, super jump is being really catchy right now. I want to get a like half a super jump. There we go, and end up on these blocks. Man, that took way too long. Took way longer than it should have. But that's what I was talking about this earlier. Screen warping isn't frame perfect, but for that one, it kind of has to be. Otherwise, I don't have the positioning I need to stay on that outer ledge. And we got the mirror shield, and we're absolutely not going to use it. The one thing you need it for is to get into Dungeon 8, and we've already done Dungeon 8. And that pillar right there, that embodies everything that is wrong about Dungeon 7. Normally you have to take that big cannonball we walked by, go around a whole level, and drag that thing along with you, like the companion cube, and just knock down all of those pillars. You have to carry it over pits. You have to figure out how to keep it with you while you jump. It's a big pain in the neck. Dungeon 7 is very, very long because of this mechanic. But if you go out of bounds, you can skip right to the nightmare area and not have to deal with any of it. And even if you're playing inbounds, if you want to put it that way, that might not work out for me. Shoot, man! It's just gonna be that kind of... It's gonna be that kind of day, I'm thinking.
This might be bad if I'm hosting and we have 2 sets of marathon luck in a row. If it happens with the next run, we'll just start blaming me and ban me from hosting forever.
Alright. Well, I will keep that in mind. But, I have to go back. We're gonna have to do the whole boss fight over, unfortunately. Even though we got the text message. That is just sad. Where's Fire Rod? But even if you're playing this game in bounds, you don't have to drag that cannonball around. There's a glitch that naturally involves bombs, because I guess it's just not a Zelda speedrun if there's not something you can do with bombs. But you can actually just knock down the pillars with bombs. And it's not even that difficult of a trick. For some of them, you can literally just stand over a pit and just mash the bomb button and until something good happens. But I only used that trick once in this run, and it's not until after Dungeon 5, so we're not going to see it for a little bit.
Just reminding everyone, we are raising money to bring Prissy and Cassio over to AGDQ 2018. We've gone a long way towards hitting our donation goal of $4,000, but we still, every little bit helps. You can still get donations in now for the file name on Shovel Knight, or for the character selection in Rockman and Forte later tonight. Right now, Beak Leave is the only candidate for Shovel Knight's name at $20, and Rockman is beating out Forte $27 to none.
One more room. Let me clear this. And this little patch of land, I don't know why it's there. The only reason why it could ever be there, I can imagine, is for decoration, because you can't actually walk to it. But it's really, really handy because it makes that last screen work so much easier. And this piece of art, by the way, don't know how you're supposed to know it's there. I don't think there's a signpost or anything in the game telling you to go dig around in the, dive under the moat. But that's the one that most people seem to miss. It's just very well hidden. And I could be screen warping these areas where I'm swimming around, but screen warping in the water is very different. Just because you oops, and then I did what it didn't mean to do. Oh hey, I don't have to clear this guy out now. That had some unintended benefits. But your momentum's different when you're swimming around. It just makes timing for the screen warp very difficult. Now, we don't have the Dungeon 6 key yet, so we can't walk through the front door. So I'm going to use this cave to sneak around to the back entrance for Dungeon 6. So some of these screen warps... No, none of these screen warps need to be frame perfect. You just have to get them. If you don't screen warp, you're going to be stuck in a tile till you get here. Grab that money. Grab the seashell. Come back in. We can save and quit. And now we're back in Dungeon 6. And we're going to skip quite a bit of Dungeon 6 as well. I'm at 1 heart, and if I'm going to mention that it's here, I just as well grab it with my 1 stinking heart. But there's a fairy under that pot. If you ever get here and you're short on health, I think there's always a fairy under that heart.
I think so.
Oh, nope. Ah. I think that third round's gonna be late. Yep. You have a lot more time to get that third bomb in when you come in through the front door, but when you come in from the side, the pot's in the way. You have to slide a little bit to actually get back in bounds. It's the timing for that's a lot shorter. The fight still isn't that tough.
Three down, only 5 to go.
Yep. You can see Dungeon 6 still not open for business. We'll still have to get the Dungeon 6 key since we're playing 100%, but it'll be a little bit later on. Here, these are the Paragoombas, and they are very frustrating. I'm glad they just kind of slide off for me and didn't bother me too much, but those bombs hit you even when you're diving underwater, and they have a ridiculous amount of knockback when you're swimming. They're a real pain in the neck. And we'll be seeing them a couple more times. They'll have plenty more times to mess with me. Get this wall clip here before I screen warp. Just so I wouldn't be stuck in the wall there. Shovel. There we go. This is the one time we used that bomb trick I was talking about earlier. If you drop 2 bombs in a 4-frame window, there we go, you do what's called the bomb trigger glitch, and the game will start playing whatever crazy random happenstance is supposed to happen. Like in this case, the special event for this room is you trade away the fishing hook and get what in the US version would be the necklace, in the Japanese version is the mermaid's bikini top. And you can skip the whole trading sequence that way. You don't have to have the fishing hook. You don't have to even start up the trading sequence. You just drop 2 bombs in a 4-frame window in that one tile that the game counts as a pit. So you can just mash the bomb button and the cutscene will start. We'll be able to skip a good portion of the trading sequence that way. You can also use the same glitch can be used to skip anything you would need the ocarina for. So if you want to wake up the big fat walrus, you can do that without having to do Marin's side quest. You can open Dungeon 8 with it. You can open the Windfish Egg. And as I mentioned earlier, you can also knock down the pillars in Dungeon 7 with the same glitch. Now, as far as the game knows, there's only one hidden item in each room. The game just can't keep track of anything more than that. The hidden item in this room is, this small key. If you screen warp over, I missed the screen warp. If you screen warp over, you probably saw it flash over for a second there. The small key will turn into a hook shot because the hidden item in this room on the left is the hook shot. So if there's a hidden item on the screen, clearly it must be the hook shot. This lets us skip so much of Dungeon 5, because there's actually a mini-boss you're supposed to fight 4 different times, and then you have to you get the hook shot. We don't have to fight him at all now. Plus, as an added bonus, I haven't picked up the small key, so I can still pick that up. Otherwise, you can't really get out of this lobby area for Dungeon 5, and I'd have to go back to the Kennel World or find some other way to get through here. Because there's no other way to get past, there's not a good place for you to screen warp to get past that doorway, otherwise. Oh, get out of here, Ocarina.
Ocarina menuing, worse menuing.
Oh, jeez. It's like, I don't actually speedrun Link to the Past, but I hear it's like the bottles in Link to the Past.
Oh, yeah.
There we go. What I did there was, I think it's very cleverly named the Fire Rod glitch. But if you pause the game in the same frame the Game Boy is drawing... I don't actually need to do it there, I'm just talking about if you pause the game on the same frame the game is trying to draw the fireball on the screen, the game will get stuck on the instruction to, hey, I gotta draw a fireball, but we're still on this frame, I better draw another fireball. I might want another one, and then we just draw another, and it'll just keep drawing fireballs until there are no more, until like, ooh, okay, we'll take that. Until it can't draw any more sprites on the screen. And if it can't draw sprites on the screen, you do that right at the edge of a screen. The game can't draw any sprites on the next screen either, which means no enemies, no mini-bosses, nothing. So for rooms where the game locks the doors until you kill all the enemies, it's a great trick to use, because everything will just be dead when you walk in. Ah, I missed a swing. I get one more hit in. Ah! This boss can be very trolly with the RNG, and especially when you only have half a heart and you know you can't take a hit. It's hard to stay in there and sneak a grab in. You have quite a long walk, especially between Dungeon 5 and Dungeon 4. This is mainly a lot of just walking around to pick up some collectibles, so this is a good time to read some donations if we have any.
Haven't gotten any recently. Just reminding everyone again, this is Bring Him Over. We're raising money to bring Prissy and Cassie over to HDQ 2018. We need to get them over here because they are two of the star players in the Mega Man Relay race that's going to be at HDQ this year on Friday. So anything we can do to help get them over here would be greatly appreciated. We currently have $810 of the $4,000 we're looking for. We do have some donation incentives for later. I already have mentioned a couple of times the Shovel Knight file name, Beak Leave in the lead. Rockman is the character selection right now over Forte for Rockman and Forte later today. And nobody's picked any colors yet for the Mute Crimson race. We've got blue, red, orange, yellow, green, cyan, purple, and pink on the board. And a little later on, there's also a bid war for Burning Rangers. I believe we've got the bot command in chat to see the donation incentives. Let me just get back over there, type that in. Realize that my push to talk key is control and it's messing things up right now. There we go. And don't forget to follow MyOhMyke too for this great Link's Awakening run.
Alright, there is our Dungeon 4 key. And in that last little segment we were able to pick up the Lens of Truth, which is the end of the trading sequence. Well, if you count the boomerang, I guess the boomerang is technically the end of the trading sequence, but don't give up the Lens of Truth for that. But you need a Lens of Truth in order to get the boomerang.
Is it actually called the Lens of Truth in Japan? Because I know in the US version, I think it's just the magnifying glass.
Ooh, you know what? I don't know. I think I forgot it was called the magnifying lens, but you're right. It may in fact
I'm
not
down
be
with
the Lens of
retconning
Truth.
it. We could retcon it.
Yeah, I guess the Lens of Truth wasn't a thing this early, so I wonder what they would call it if the game came out now. Yeah. Ah. We're not actually going to need a hook shot for the rest of the game, so I'm going to trade that away and keep the boomerang. Or rather, to get the boomerang, because I still have to dig things up with the shovel. And we'll be counting to 6 again, because we're headed back to the Kennel World again, finally. Oops, I talked to the kid. And the important thing is, as we fry all these chickens and foxes, is when you use the fire rod, you have to make sure the sprite disappears completely from the screen, because it does take a bit longer with the fire rod. And if you don't let the sprite kind of blink out there, it may or may not count towards your total. And if you miscount these, you either get to start over again and it'll defeat your 6 monsters, but if you miscount it in a certain way, forget if it's like either 4 or 7, you actually cannot save and quit out of the counter world, and you'll just be stuck here in purgatory forever. There are ways you can leave, but you have to hit multiple frame perfect screen warps in a row to get to the room that you need for that. And at best you'll lose a couple of minutes. And that's it for Dungeon 4, because we've already gotten the flippers out of here, so I don't need to go run around for those. We were able to screen warp right into the boss room, so I don't have to worry about the nightmare key.
I don't know if I missed it earlier. Do we still have to deal with the ghost?
No, don't have to deal with the ghost because of the dungeon order that we're using. But normally, if you're playing in correct boss order, because you can see we don't even have Dungeon 4 unlocked, so I don't know if the ghost can even spawn. But normally when you clear Dungeon 4, you have to do this very long and yet very required side quest, where this ghost will haunt you until you go visit his gravestone and then bring him back to his house by the beach. Ooh. Ooh. So there is Song 2, which we're going to take advantage of right now. Song 2 will teleport you to the entrance of dungeons, so you'll use that in no save and quit categories. And the overworld will actually bring you here to Crazy Trucy's, where we were playing with if I wasn't playing no potions, I'd actually go and pick up a potion here. Potions working like bottled fairies in Link's Awakening. Shell? That was a secret seashell. Get out of here, bat. And I missed that screen warp, but it's okay because we're actually saving quit right here, so that's not a big deal at all. Trying to cut through and go right to this cave with another piece of heart in it. Where are you going, Link? Go down. There we go. And you can bomb arrow that wall, but also screen warp over here. That leaves just one piece of heart left for us to get, and I know where it is. It's the one that's at the bottom of the well. But it's going to be one of the very last items we pick up in the run. So we're not going to be picking it up for quite a while, rather. Now, the Dungeon 3 key is buried under the bush here, but if you screen warp into a room, it does change where it changes where buried items are hidden. So I have to reset the room so I can actually get to the key. I'm gonna save and quit here. There are so many ways for me to soft lock the game in this cave, and if I don't save and quit there, when I could hit reset, but I don't know where my last save point is. Ooh, okay, I'm missing 2 seashells. Let me do some quick math. I know where the 2 seashells I'm missing are, and that's gonna be faster than me picking up the backup seashell. Also, here's a Wart from Super Mario 2. You know, picture perfect representation of him from the other game. He's gonna give us song number 3. So, a couple of things about this room. If you don't come into this room the correct way, the game will soft lock if you come in from any direction other than the top. You can see in that top left corner there is a cracked tile, which is terrible, because you could come in through the top of the room, but if you come in on that very top left corner, you'll be on the cracked tile for the cutscene. The tile will break away underneath you, and while they're singing, you will repeatedly fall into the cracked tile, and until you run out of health. And then at the end of the song, you die, you lose your 300 rupees, you don't get the song, and you just end up leaving with nothing. And after, I meant to save and quit there, after Dungeon 3, I'm gonna have to go and pick up those seashells I missed at the beginning of the game. And I forgot I didn't have bomb arrows. Use the fire rod trick here. Spawn this small key. Screen warp. Thank you. And we only need 2 keys to get through Dungeon 3. It's called the Key Cavern. Normally there are many keys you can grab here. But we're only going to need the 2 that we've got. I'm going to screen warp through here. Skip 2 of the key blocks. I'm going to break 1 of them. Oh! And this last one I'm going to do a flock skip through. And I'm just going to jump into it. And when that text box appears, it gives you just enough freedom of movement to, That was terrible. That was just awful. I'm just gonna go the long way. That's how terrible that was. It gives you just enough freedom of movement to flip yourself in between the corner there. Punk. And you are definitely not meant to have the fire rod here. This eyeball is very weak to the fire rod. You do still need to pull out the sword to split them apart with sword dash. But the separated eyeballs only take 1 hit each from the fire rod.
Is this a good time then?
Absolutely.
Have a $30 donation from Zendebogger. Longtime classic Mega Man stream lurker, happy to donate. This is to run Forte and Rockman and Forte. With those $30, Forte is actually in the lead by, I think our exact total is $2.91. So if you wanted to see Rockman instead of Forte, you still have time to turn the tables on that. Also, some guy, Mr. Cab55, donated $20. Bring him over. Puts $10 towards blue and $10 towards orange for Mute Crimson later today. Thank you, Zandabogger, for the donation.
Let me get loose here. So this cave I tried to go to at the start of the game. We're gonna go back to it now that I have bombs. There we go. And I know that looks really complicated for super jumps to make that little gap, but just the spacing for those walls is just such that you need to do some funny business with the jumps to get over there. This is gonna let us get into the hidden room in Dungeon 1. Which I'll be in Dungeon 1 later, but the best thing for me to do, normally I would already have those seashells, and the fastest thing for me to do would be to go get my level 2 sword now. I'm having to backtrack. Means I can't just take a quick path over to the seashell hut. Whatever the heck it's called, the Seashell Shrine. I forget what the name of the place is.
It's a secret seashell shrine by the seashore.
Something like that.
Sally probably runs it. Oh, that's right, we unlocked that warp too. Alright, so now I gotta grab these last 3 seashells. We're by Dungeon 3. Where am I going? I'm gonna go get the Dungeon 3 key again. This is where I need to screen warp. Right here. Oh, look at what it did! Ah! I didn't realize it had done that. Because I don't usually screen warp into this room. The seashell ended up someplace where I couldn't quite grab it. I had to reset the room. Ooh. Too early? There we go. That should work. 18, 19, and number 20 is right here by the shack. There we go. Here's our level 2 sword. And when you save and quit here, actually will just, it doesn't change your save and quit location. So you actually just go back to what would normally be the Dungeon 3 exit. Should have grabbed you first, huh? 3. And then now we're gonna make our way to Dungeon 2. 4. 5. 6. Go. Oh! And if you're familiar with this game, you're probably thinking, yeah, I'm already in Dungeon 2. Which is true, but I have to get inbounds in Dungeon 2. And I can do that in this room here. And when I watch people playing this game for the first time on Twitch, this is usually the room they're stuck in. They know there's something in this room, and they generally don't know how to get it. And the issue is, you have to kill the enemies in a specific order to make the chest appear. And not everybody's always familiar with the names of the enemies. Shouts at Nintendo Power on that one.
Exactly. That's typically where people get stuck. I've got the nightmare key, and I don't need the small key because I'm just going to screen warp over here and use the fire rod. Clear out the room. And you could combine all the tricks into one there. You could do the fire rod glitch while you screen warp into the room, and it'll put you right by the staircase. But sometimes you'll drag in enemies from the other room, and then you just lose whatever time you would have saved. This boss, the Mad Clown. Mad Clown is a pain in the neck. He has a ton of health for a level 2 boss. There's multiple phases to the fight. Can't hit him most of the time, so you gotta sit here and dodge. He's a really tough fight for being so early into the game. But you can cut out half of the fight here, just getting a little wall clip up here, and throwing him kind of out of bounds. And you can do what I'm about to do with bomb arrows, but I have the magic rod. Drop a bomb, then use the magic rod. I missed it. You can use the magic rod to knock him back into the bomb, and that's enough damage to clear him out. If you miss it, he'll start teleporting around the room, and things can get a little bit crazy from there. And the timing for that is not too tough. I'm just bad. I missed it. I might go away to Dungeon 1 next.
Seems like a good choice.
Yeah, last one on the list. Just in case I get stuck in a tree. Going to set my save and quit point there. And with Screen Warping, I'm gonna cut out a whole lot of Dungeon 1. Most of these dungeons we can skip a lot in. But other than Dungeon 4, I think this might be the quickest dungeon to get through. Because we just got the Nightmare Key. Already got Rock's Feather here. There's a small key in that chest right there. And if I miss this again, I'm probably just going to grab the small key. Because it's not too far away. It's not like you lose a ton of time going for it. Man, where's all this lag coming from? Come on, Link. There we go. There we go. Got the mini boss. And you're definitely not meant to have a level 2 sword here. So if I get this spin slash... Oh! You can take him out in one hit. Or you can blink off and fall down, because it's Moldorm, and that's just part of the deal.
It's not a run with that boss without a fall down in a marathon run. You're fine.
There we go.
You're gonna take my hosting license away again for this. Too much bad marathon RNG.
Well, forgetting the shop, that one's on me. Forgetting the shop at the start, that's not really your fault. I can take the blame on that one.
It's more of just a general aura of bad decision, whether by the RNG or not. Probably also those color choices earlier.
Because I know the time is on the screen, but I'm running my split too. I was like, man, that was one of my, I got a great split there. I can't believe how good my time was. You know, missed half the shop in that sequence. Yeah, that'll save time on a split. So we've got all 8 instruments, ready to go to the Windfish Egg. Just got a couple more items to pick up for the 100% category. And all the items are actually here, in this house, kind of. But this is gonna be our starting point for the rest of the run. This is the piece of heart at the bottom of the well. So don't go up the staircase, or you have to go all the way back. We can just save and quit. Back to here, and we're gonna go out of bounds again here. Same thing we did before, and just go. I'm gonna go to the left here instead of going back down. So I'm actually come down a couple of tiles, we might get stuck on the corner. But now we're in the Armor Shrine for the Dungeon 6 key. And I've only had it happen once, ever. But if you kill that boss in the wrong location, the key will actually spawn somewhere where you can't get it, and you have to do the fight over. It'll just spawn out of bounds, just there smiling at you. But now we, yep, that's everything. We're all set for the Windfish Egg, and we're going to skip the maze as well. Let me change my inventory in a second here. The screen warp over here, walk diagonally. That's going to put us right in front of the, right at the opening here. If you can actually screen warp right into this room. But if you, again, it's another one of those rooms like Wart's Cave. If you enter from the bottom, which is where you would normally enter here, the game will immediately soft lock. If you screen warp so you enter from the top, the game glitches out, and you can do the boss fight, but the boss spawns off screen, you have to wait for him to come back. And that was a quick kill on the first phase there. It was exactly what it looked like. You stick your sword out, and, you have to, your timing and your positioning matter, of course. It's not a freebie, phase skip, or a freebie quick kill. But you just wiggle your sword around in the blob, and it'll eventually die. Now, if you happen to drop the trick, I should have had my feather out. If you happen to drop the trick, you might not get the quick kill, but it still does damage. Like, normally it would take 3 hits from the powder, it might only take 1 or 2. Depending on how well the trick goes. We've seen this boss fight many times before. Just playing tennis, you have to reflect the magic. After the first 2, oh, of course. After the first 2, there's a 50-50 chance whether you can actually reflect the magic he throws at you. There's a quick kill for that boss as well. I just missed it a little bit. I must have been off of my positioning. But the rest of the phases fall down really quickly if you have the level 2 sword, especially when you sword dash. That one phase, he just goes down so quickly. Why am I trying to spin dash this guy? I want the boomerang. Get back, get back. The last phase here is Deathel, and yeah, he goes down in 1 hit from the boomerang. You can also use 16 arrows. He only takes damage when his eye is open, but you can also use 16 bombs if you're just absolutely crazy here. And time's going to be when the screen fades to white. 3, 2, 1, time.
GG.
Thank you. If you're crazy, you can use 16 bombs there, but you have to time up your bombs with an RNG damage opening. So that would be just crazy, but that is Link's Awakening. 100% reverse boss order, and thanks to your generosity, a 3-heart challenge run with no potions, and only a couple of extra deaths.
That was impressive. Thank you.
Well, thank you for inviting me.
Again, don't forget to follow the runners. The link to MyOhMyke